Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Emily.
And I'm Whitney.
And this is Cousins Talk Crime.
Today we are starting episode 2.
How do you feel that episode 1 went?
I thought it went good.
You thought it went good?
I thought by the end of it we were getting a lot. We were a little nervous there at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm nervous all over again because I'm going to be the one talking.
I'm excited that I get to be the one listening this time.
I loved your story though because I had never heard about that one.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard about it either. I feel like I'd seen her face before, but I hadn't heard the story. Mm-mm. So I think it's good to hear ones that are especially close to home.
Yes. This case I'm doing today is still an active missing person case to date.
Oh, no.
Yep. She has still never been found. So I am going to jump right into it. Her name is Marina Boelter. She went missing when she was 18 years old from Bloomfield, Indiana. She was born on July 15th, 1996.
What?
And I thought, when I looked at it, I thought she was a Cancer because that's what I am, her zodiac sign. So we have a little bit in common there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So what's the typical traits of a Cancer? I'm not into zodiac.
Well, the one that everyone says that I do not believe is true is that it's emotional. But I don't feel like I'm emotional.
I don't know. I feel like you could be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe that part.
Yeah, I got you.
But they're very, they protect the people they love. They're stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. She was also 5'3", weighing close to 110 pounds. She was a little bitty thing.
Very small.
She had blonde strawberry hair. She had actually just came out of a really rough place in her life, and she was trying to get, back together on her feet. And I'll get into it, but she lost custody of her son. She was trying to regain back custody during this time. She got out of an abusive relationship with her ex-boyfriend, he's the one that they had the son with. And she was trying just to get him back and get on her feet.
Aw. That is so, I just don't feel like that's stuff an 18-year-old should have to worry about. I hate that. Aw.
No. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
So, she worked at the IGA grocery store there in Bloomfield. The night she went missing was New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Yep, in 2014.
So, it was 2014 going into 2015?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, she had got off work that night around 6 p.m. She was last seen leaving the parking lot in what witnesses describe as a 2009-2011 silver gold Mercury Milan. Is it Milan?
I don't know.
Milan.
I have no idea.
With a middle-aged white male. She did not show up for work the next day and missed a visitation with her son. And so when she didn't show up for work the following day, her boss is actually the one that reported her missing. Her boss knew how important it was for her to, she needed to stay consistent with her job. And she said she had just seen such a huge change in her when she didn't show up and wasn't answering. She, knew something was wrong.
Aw.
So she actually called Marina's mom, which her name is Tressie.
Tressie, okay.
Yep. And they both went to Marina's apartment, and it didn't look like she had ever been there she had never made it back to her apartment, is what they didn't see anything of her IGA uniform. She had an apron and a hat, and it never looked like she had came back. So that's when her boss, April, decided to phone the police and say that she was missing.
That's a really good boss.
Mm-hmm. From what I have heard from her sister-in-law, Ashley, the police did not take this very seriously. I don't think Marina had the best name around town at that time, and neither did her family. Well, her mom. And they just thought, she's on a bender, or she's out, or she's doing something, and they didn't take it as seriously as they should have. So, let's see.
How many times do the police not take things seriously that they should take? Like, we shouldn't jump to conclusions that just because someone is I feel like there's so many times we run into that where the police are.
Yeah. So, her sister-in-law, Ashley, was insistent that Marina would have never missed that visit with her son, Landon. That's her son's name. He was only 8 months old at the time.
Oh my gosh, that's heartbreak. That's so sad because he won't have any memory of his mother.
And she said she would have never missed that visit. That's when they knew, like, something was terrible. Ashley, her sister-in-law, they actually lived far away. I want to say it was, like, Nevada or somewhere. She's married to Marina's brother. His name's David. And she immediately got David a plane ticket and flew him in to help search. And it was she said about 10 people in that group that was, like, Marina's dad, other, I feel like cousins, just uncles, family members all got together and were searching for her.
Oh.
So I'm going to go back and give a little bit of a context about Maria and her boyfriend. His name was DJ Lockhart, and they had the son named Landon in April 2014, so he was only 8 months old at the time of her disappearance. And in August, when baby Landon was only 4 months old, there was a family dispute at home involving Marina's sister Faith and her sister's boyfriend. This is supposedly, because there's a couple different versions of this story. But Landon, the 4-month-old baby, was injured. The injury resulted in a brain bleed. So CPS took Landon into custody. But here's the kicker. At this time, Faith, the sister, had guardianship over Landon. For Faith and Marina are sisters. And she had guardianship because, like I said, Marina was struggling and getting, back on her feet. She trusted her sister, Faith. I feel like Faith was going through the ring. Faith was only 19, too. So it wasn't like this way older sister that was, they're both kids in my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And she had an abusive boyfriend, and they did get physical sometimes. But I know from listening to another podcast, Faith claims it did not happen in her care, that it happened in the babysitter's care. And she did take Landon to the doctor the next day when she noticed the injury to his head. But other sources have said that it was an altercation between Faith and her boyfriend. So there's no real definite how, but CPS took him into custody. So that's what Marina was fighting to get him back.
Wow.
Yeah. So Faith was also on probation during this time, the sister. And she was working in a gentleman's club when she was dropping Landon off. Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do, apparently.
You do. Yep. And
where are there gentlemen clubs?
Yeah. It was, I think, in Bloomington.
Okay, so she was driving to Bloomington.
Yep, she was driving to
Bloomington. Because I was trying to imagine a gentleman's club in Bloomfield.
I don't think so. No, I'm pretty sure it stated in Bloomington.
Okay.
But she, at that time, for some reason, broke her probation because she wasn't supposed to be in a club. During the time of Marina's disappearance, Faith was, like, on the run from the law. Like, because she had broken probation. She had went through all this. Landon had just got taken away from her. And so she was on the run when her sister went missing. But they were in a very bad place anyway. From everywhere I've read, that the mom, Tressie, states that Marina was super upset that Landon had got injured in her sister's care, and they were not on, like, good terms when she went missing. So, back to DJ, the boyfriend that on and off again they had baby Landon. They started dating when Marina was 15 years old, and DJ was 19 at the time. And they had this rough on-again, off-again relationship. And he was, like, a big reason why she wasn't getting her life back on track. And so at that point in time, when she went missing from the IGA, she had completely broken up with him. She had gotten a new apartment, and she didn't want DJ to even know where she lived. That's how much she wanted him, like, out of her life. Like, she told numerous people she doesn't want anyone to know, because it's a small town, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's a small town. People are going to know.
Yeah, she didn't want anyone to know, to tell him that that's where she was staying.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. The night she went missing, she was actually walking out of the IGA, and she was on the phone with her friend named Toby. Toby said the last words that he heard Marina say were, "Oh shit, it's DJ." And Toby reported that she hung up the phone and she never called him back ever again. Marina was supposed to go to a party that night at Toby's house, and she also never showed up to the party. So when they talked to the ex-boyfriend DJ, he said that he was at the IGA parking lot, that he was waiting on friends to pick him up, and it just happened to be the same time Marina was getting off of work is when he wanted his friends, you know, to meet and pick him up there. I don't know if that's just a coincidence or if he, you know, planned it because he knew her schedule. But he had tried to convince Marina to come with them and go to a party with them that night and to get in his truck, and she would refuse. She said she wasn't going, didn't want to go with him. And from other things that I've heard, some people say they were like yelling, you know, but she ended up, this is from DJ, is how the police got the description of the car she was last seen in. He says that she got into a car with this middle-aged 40, 50-year-old white male, heavy set, and that he did not recognize this individual, and they drove off. So the police are getting that knowledge from him. So that's why everyone is on the lookout for this car that DJ claims she got into and left.
Yeah, but we don't know this is trustworthy information because it could be emotional information. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But that is why there's a lookout for this, you know. And this goes on for, you know, a little while. No one's giving any tips on this car, but there's like posters of it, pictures of the make and model and color, you know, like if you know anyone. That's what I'm getting at. On January 9th, so about 9 days after her disappearance, the Greene County Daily World released a photo of the model vehicle that she was last seen getting into. Authorities described the vehicle as a 4-door Mercury Milan, which she was last seen getting into at the IGA parking lot around 6 p.m. So the search goes on. The family members are all searching. DJ even actually joins in on the search with Marina's mother, Tressie. Now, these two seem to have a very close, weird relationship. She claims that even though DJ and Marina had a very on-off relationship, that she said she knew they loved each other. Now, the dad family and the brother and cousins and uncles hated him. They were basically, he was their main. They all thought DJ probably did something to her. As soon as they found out she was missing, they thought DJ, you know, knows something. Yeah. DJ's and then you have the mom that's hanging out with him and searching with him. And it was just a weird dynamic.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Even if you liked the guy, if he was a potential suspect of your daughter's disappearance, I would not associate with him. Mm-hmm. I don't care how much of a good person you think he is. Yeah. It's her ex-boyfriend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems weird.
From what I've heard, they had a really weird relationship. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen some of these turn into lover relationships before.
I don't think that was the vibe I was getting, but I feel like her mom, I wanted to say this nicely, was very immature and kind of in her own world and just really wanted, her mom wasn't the best mom, I feel like, at the time.
Yeah.
From what I've gathered.
It's a bummer.
3 weeks into the search, a man comes forward saying that he was the driver of the vehicle and that he did give Marina a ride. He said that Marina didn't want to tell him where she lived, So she asked him to drop her off at a pizza place that was close to her apartment. And I guess this pizza place was closed down. But from it, I guess her apartment was close enough she could walk. But as people described it, if you were dropping someone off there, you wouldn't know that's where she, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was close enough where she could get there, and he claimed that's where he dropped her off.
Now, I may have missed this when you said this, but is she living in Bloomfield or just working in Bloomfield?
She's living in Bloomfield in apartments.
Okay, in apartments in Bloomfield.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
And she had just moved in there recently.
Yeah.
On her own. But so it took him, this is what's bizarre to me, 3 weeks. Took him when this car's been all over, you know.
Maybe he consulted with a lawyer and was like, am I going to get accused of this if I just come out and say it's me? Is it wise for me to come out and say I'm the person in the vehicle? I don't know.
This is the craziest part, I think, of this whole thing.
Oh, no.
The pizza place is the last ping of her phone. Okay. That's where it goes completely dead. That's the last ping of her phone. And that's not the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing is they have never released this guy's name to the public or her family.
So we have no idea.
To this day, her family knows this guy came forward.
Yeah.
But the police will not release his name.
So he's just walking about. He's just living life in Bloomfield. And we have no idea that this is that guy.
Yep. And that's also, weird. Traces of Marina's DNA were found in his vehicle. Okay. I think it was on like a couple bags he had in his car. It was enough to show that she had probably been in there, but not, there wasn't where they thought there was some sort of foul play.
Yeah, they didn't find blood.
Hairs,
yeah. Okay.
Just traces. So what DJ, you know what I mean, said happened. Obviously did happen.
So he was being truthful.
He was being truthful. But my first initial thoughts when I was going through this was, say this guy did drop her off there. If DJ was mad, I mean, he could have followed, you know what I mean? The car to the pizza place, you know? And I also, when I listened to another podcast, the sister said that would have been something she would have said. Like, will you drop me off? You know what I mean? Because she didn't want this guy knowing where she lived. But another thing in my head, she might have said that to that guy. But did he actually drop her off? Like, because that, I mean, her family was like, well, that does sound true. That's something she would say. Like, meaning like that guy's telling the truth. And in my head, I immediately thought, she probably did. Maybe she did say that. But maybe he kept driving, you know?
Yeah. Well, and he knows that that's when he turned her phone off, was at that pizza place.
Yep. So, this gets even better. Toby, the family friend that was on Marina at the time she saw DJ, it came out that he was the one who had been paying for her apartment, and they had been together, and Toby was also married.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was having an affair.
Affairs are always... affairs are a good
motive.
Recipe. Yep, they're a good motive. Wow.
So we have the ex-boyfriend, the unknown driver.
The unknown chubby white guy.
Yeah. And then Toby, the one who was having an affair on his wife. And then probably his wife. I mean.
Oh, yeah. The wife's always got to be a huge suspect because... Yeah, they're the person with the true motive.
And Tressie, Marina's mom, had made comments that Toby, this family friend, had even like rubbed her pregnant belly when she was pregnant with Marina.
That's cute.
Yep.
Did you state how old Toby was? No. Okay.
I'm assuming he has to be older if he was rubbing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
He's older and obviously more financially stable.
Yeah, that he was able to pay for her apartment.
Yeah.
That you got to be making a lot of money if you're able to hide enough to pay for someone's apartment from your wife.
And he claimed that, and I think Marina had, from what I've read, confided it had told her mom about this affair.
Okay.
That she was having it. I don't think it was a shock to her mom, like, later on, when I think her mom knew that it was going on.
Yeah, I don't think that's strange, because I think if I was having an affair, I'd probably tell my mom too.
Yeah.
I'd tell my mom everything.
Me too. There was a convicted murderer living in her apartment building.
What? Do they have to tell people that kind of stuff legally?
I don't know, but she did not know. And his name was Vernon Gelbriner, and he had been convicted of murder and rape of a 19-year-old woman, and he had done his time and been released. But during his first parole hearing, I know that he made the comment that if he got out, he would probably more than likely do this again. So he was living in her same apartment building.
I need to look into his case as to why he didn't get a life sentence.
Yeah, I feel like
that's wild.
He was in special rehabilitative prison programs. On his first hearing, he said he did not feel confident about being released. I'm working towards getting to where I could go home, he said in 1982. But with some of the attitudes I have right now, I'm sure another attack would happen. I'm not capable of dealing with females yet. I get frustrated very easily.
Wow. I mean, he was self-aware.
And he got out, I think, a year or two before, and he was living in her building.
Wow.
So it just keeps adding.
Yeah, she's got a list of people that could have done this. A list. Crazy ex-boyfriend. Affair. Affair's wife.
Unknown mystery man that she got in the vehicle with. That and her DNA was in his car.
Murderer that is self-aware that he has a bad temper with women. Oh my gosh.
Then this investigation keeps going on. Then on February 12th, 2015, which is only roughly 7 weeks after Marina went missing, DJ Lockhart, 22 of Bloomfield, was stabbed inside the residence of Michael A. Rogers at 332 South Lewis Street in Bloomfield. Police were called, and Lockhart was pronounced dead on the scene by the Greene County coroner.
Wow.
So the dad, died just 7 weeks after she went missing.
So now the baby has no mom or dad. And now if it was DJ, we will never know.
Right. According to information released by the prosecutor, Lockhart entered Rogers' home uninvited, confronted Rogers about past relationships with 2 women, then physically attacked Rogers. He punched Rogers in the head, knocked him down, pinned him on the floor, and was then stabbed by Rogers with a knife. Rogers then got out from under Lockhart, called police, and attempted to stop the bleeding. It was ruled self-defense.
Interesting. Okay.
Which he came into somebody's house and attacked them.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, the investigation kind of just goes cold. It seems like no one's really doing any more about it. I don't know if some people just thought he did it and now he's, gone. I don't know what the circumstances was. But on the 1-year mark, Tressie, Marina's mom, she started at the IGA in Bloomfield where Marina went missing, and she put on a pair of Marina's tennis shoes. And she carried a misspelled sign attached to a wooden mop handle, and it said "walking for a billboard," but I guess billboard was spelled wrong. And she took off walking to Linton to raise money for a billboard for her daughter.
That is heart-wrenching. That her mother wanted a billboard so bad to find the information for her parents that she put on her shoes, misspelled billboard.
This was the Herald Times. Mother walks so that no one forgets her daughter is still missing.
I literally just got goosebumps.
It says, maybe it's Palmer's flowing purple hair, her hunter or orange knit hat, the 4 cross draped around her neck, the oversized camouflage coveralls, her father's that she wore with the pant legs rolled up, or the misspelled sign affixed to an old mop handle by her 13-year-old daughter that she carried Wednesday along crumbled sidewalks and rural highway through Greene County.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I had to have seen this on the news or on Facebook back at that time, but I do not remember this.
Yeah, it said she needed to raise $445, $225 to credit a billboard cover with a giant picture of her daughter and the number to call with information about her disappearance. The billboard company was waiving the rental fee.
Oh, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That actually, this is a little off topic, but that's a little reasonable.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I thought that's a good price for
Oh, yeah.
a giant
No, they were
picture of their
covering
daughter.
the rent. Yeah. She basically, I feel like, just had to pay for the rental. And she did get the billboard. But I know I read where, like, the first, like, 2 or 3 people told her no.
Did they ever say, like, exactly which billboard it was? Do we know where she was? Because I can't remember. I'm sure I've passed it before.
I feel like I remember seeing it, but I don't know where it was. I know if you pull it up, there's images of it.
Images of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Yeah. But so her mom did not want anyone to forget or to stop looking for her. Because that's a very, starting where she was last seen and taken off to Linton. It said by the time she got to Switch City, she'd collected $7.80.
$7.80. Wow.
Yeah. So this keeps going on, and still no leads, nothing. And what I really wanted to talk about is, from what the sister-in-law told me, the police, and I'm not trying to diss any police officers or them, but they've just said that they haven't been really helpful at all. Like, they don't know they haven't heard from them in years. No updates, no nothing, even though it's supposedly an ongoing investigation. They have yet to hear anything from them.
So we've never had, like, any true suspects? No, like, wow.
Nothing.
Just
no leads, nothing. From what Ashley told me is they've been the only ones doing their own investigating and, searching, and that it's been really hard for them to even get anything out from what's going on with it, because it is still an active, open investigation. So for me, and I don't know what you think since you've heard all this, my gut feeling was the unknown guy in the vehicle that has never been named. And I tried doing, like, digging on this to see if he is, I mean, now it's 2024, if he had actually ever been publicly named, but I couldn't find anything from the public. But that was just immediately where I thought it took this guy 3 weeks and his identity is still, like, sealed, and it was confirmed that her DNA was in the car, he was just my primary suspect if I had to pick one.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Oh gosh, I feel like I can come up with possibilities for everything. I feel like the person with the most true motive would have been the ex-boyfriend, but just from what I've seen, I feel like it would have to be, if she doesn't look like she ever got home, like her IGA uniform was not at home, she must have went missing in that uniform.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be the guy in the car or her neighbor that's a convicted murderer, maybe caught her in the hallway along the way.
So I forgot to say
pulled her in.
He was pulled in for a polygraph and passed, and he had an alibi.
Oh, okay.
And supposedly the guy in the car passed his alibi too. I mean, not alibi, passed his polygraph.
Okay, I was about to say, how could he have had an alibi? Okay. So he passed his polygraph, which polygraphs don't really do a whole lot, which is why they don't use them in the court of law, but still, he passed it. I don't know.
But I do know her family, Ashley and her brother David. And I hadn't talked to Faith, but they have not gave up. And they still want answers. You know, to this day, they want answers.
Yeah.
I know Faith has completely done a 180 with her life. I know that people say that they wouldn't even recognize her anymore with how far she's came from who she was back then.
Yeah.
I know she even does help for abuse victims, like women, like
Wow.
she gives her time to that, you know, and clean and taking care of herself. And that her brother and her sister-in-law have never gave up on her.
Yeah.
So I will say this. Tressie, the mom, has since passed away as well.
Aw.
I want to say she passed away 2 or 3 years ago. I don't want to quote because I had really trouble pulling up her obituary. She died in Kentucky. She was living in like a shelter type tent situation. When they found her, she was like unresponsive. And I think she passed away at the hospital.
Aw.
And I think her daughter Faith got to go there and be with her. So her mom passed without ever knowing what happened to her daughter.
That's just got to be the worst. Just not knowing.
So the ex is deceased. The mother has passed. So, like I said, the name of the guy has never been released to the public. And I was digging, and the podcast that I had listened to that had the sisters on their podcast and like interviewed them. I had just, for some reason, last night I happened to be scrolling, and they had a year ago, almost around, had like an episode 4 that I hadn't listened to about the case. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I clicked on it. And they had this girl on there named Amanda, who I had never heard of. And I was like, why is she on it about Marina, you know? Anyway, Amanda called in to be on this podcast because her ex-husband is the guy who gave Marina a ride home.
Oh.
And she believes her ex-husband is the one that killed Marina. And so does this guy's brother.
So did they give the name?
They did give the name.
Okay. So, like, police never publicly gave the name, but we've got hearsay giving the name in a podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
It's still never been, you know,
Looked
confirmed.
into. Okay.
Yeah, nothing. But she claims her ex-husband is the one who picked up Marina and that he told her, you know, he'd picked up Marina. She said that he had been frequenting the IGA and flirting with Maria for the month prior to her going missing.
So he was kind of... Okay. So he's
Yep.
a stranger that's got a crush on Marina.
That she'd seen enough in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, hearsay, the ex-wife said that, and this is all allegedly because...
Yes. All allegedly.
We don't know, but that he had... The police were supposedly looking into him for, like, weird, inappropriate things on his phone with younger girls.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Yeah. And they got a divorce, I feel like, after that, but he had been doing it while they were married.
Mm.
But she, the ex-wife, says doesn't want people to think she's just being a crazy ex-wife, that his brother also believes that he's
Okay.
responsible.
Okay.
Yeah.
His own brother.
Mm-hmm. Now, when they said the name and I looked it up, he passed away July 1st, 2021.
Son of a gun.
At Bloomington Hospital. From what I heard, it was some kind of like liver failure, like alcohol, and the ex-wife said alcohol related. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not for sure. I just don't want to say his name since this is all alleged.
And he's passed away and he can't.
He's passed away. And
Let me see it.
I have no... I mean, I don't know if he did or didn't.
Yeah.
But his brother and his ex-wife do believe that he was responsible. from what was said on the podcast.
So considering 3 people close to Marina have passed away, we will probably never... Unfortunately, that's just the facts of the matter. And plus, the longer something goes.
Oh, yeah. It's the only thing I did not like about this Amanda girl now coming forward with this is she's known this for a very long time. And this is just a recent, after he passed, is when she started to come forward. And maybe she was afraid of the consequences, but I don't know. I feel like if you think someone murdered someone who's been missing for so long, it would have been nice to...
It's easy to drag someone's name through the mud after they're dead and they can't defend themselves.
I looked on mycase.gov in Indiana, and he has no criminal record. He's not been convicted of anything, like nothing. The only thing that was on there was their divorce.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I didn't want to say his name, because he could just been someone that, you know, dropped her off at the pizza place.
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally understand. Totally understand.
But I would love for this case to be brought to light, and maybe if anyone with any sort of, you know what I mean, knowledge about this, since this is still an open, active, you know.
I mean, this happened 10 years ago. That's not even that long ago.
Mm-mm. And her body's never been found. She's never been found. I mean, it's presumed that, you know.
Yes.
She's not just hanging out somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's been 10 years. I think I'll go back home now. No. I don't know. I was just saying there's probably someone that knows something, but...
Yeah. I just feel like this case had so many...
It did.
Potential and twists and turns and...
Yeah, I feel like I've heard it worded in another way, but there was a lot of factors that could have brought her to this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like what's sad is she was trying to get herself better, and who knows who she would be today if, you know.
Yeah, and she was trying so hard to be safe. She was trying really hard to do things the right way. Like, drop me off a block away from my apartment so that he doesn't know where I live.
Yeah.
Like, she worked so hard to be safe, and then...
But that is the end for me.
That's it. Well, hopefully we can bring it up later.
Yeah.
And
I'm hoping maybe we get people that know something, and you guys can always email us. I feel like we're going to link our email.
Yes, our email is linked. Yes. I will have it linked.
Yeah, and if you know anything, or also I wanted to, if I've misspoke on anything or gave out some wrong information, I would love to know the correct.
Yeah.
And also with like the Amanda thing, I'm not saying I don't believe her or trying to question why she waited. It's normal to wonder. I'm not saying she isn't telling the truth, but.
Yep. So much speculation. I feel like we need to. My next case is going to be about someone that got caught and we know it was the person, so that there's no.
Right, this one's really hard because there's been no justice for anybody. Her family don't even know where she is.
Yeah. It is.
Nothing.
It's just awful.
No phone, no clothes. Nothing has ever been recovered or found.
That is just
wild.
Just
like she pinged at that pizza place and then
I feel like I've heard in so many cases too that I don't know if this is the case, and I feel like I come across as being a cop hater. It's not the case, but I just wonder if Bloomfield police are equipped to investigate stuff like this.
Well, here's something that I forgot to bring up Ashley, her sister-in-law, when she flew her husband in here, she was kind of liaison. Even though she was away, she was like doing all the things from a distance. She started like that Find Maria Facebook page. She started a GoFundMe for a reward to find her. And what she also did was she contacted searchers out of Indianapolis and a huge one in Texas that they said, we will come and we will help. I forget the one in Texas name, but she said it's a major one, that the police department would not approve it because they did not want them interfering with their ongoing investigation.
Yeah, which is gross. I hate this. I feel like in small towns, you know, we grew up in very small towns.
Yes.
Our police are people that we know.
Right.
I feel like it's impossible to not have a biasness.
Yeah.
And especially because our county's sheriff's department is also in Bloomfield.
Yeah.
And so those people are local to Bloomfield as well.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like you, like, I love the police. Like, I don't want to say anything negative. I just wish that in cases like this, instead of, they would accept the help.
Yes.
Like, if you need it, take it.
Yeah, I would totally accept the help. Definitely. I hate this for her, but
it's a sad one. And hopefully one day her family gets answers.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for.
Me too.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in with Cousins Talk Crime.
So next week I'm going to be telling you about the highway killer.
Ooh.
He killed, I think, over 20 people.
Dang.
Yeah. So we'll get into that one next week. I'm hoping I can get it all done in one episode. But with him being a serial killer of over 20 people, I really want to tell the victim stories.
Yeah.
So
we can get into a part 2.
Yeah, it's possible that we get into a part 2 with him. But we will see you guys there. And thank you so much for joining in. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.